So I'm also just going to give a very brief introduction to beekeeping. You know, you want to ask yourself if beekeeping is right for you and is it right for the bees. So there are really three main things that you want to look at. Location, where you keep your bees, the time that you need to invest, and also the financial investment that's involved. There are city ordinances to take a look at. I think at this point, you know, more cities are coming on board and allowing beekeeping. So that's great. You can see from these photos that it could be a small amount of space, it can be larger space, but these are all backyard beekeeping locations. It does require very little space. Bees will travel a long distance. They can go 3 miles, 3-mile radius. So they will go in any direction to find the best pollen and nectar source. And really I find that in urban areas there is a lot of biodiversity. So personally I think that bees do very well in cities. I've been keeping bees for 6 years now, and I've had very good success with my bees. An ideal location would have a windbreak. You're going to want to face the hive to the east or southeast because you want it to get morning sunlight. You want to offer some shade because bees really, they'll spend a lot of time taking water and fanning the hive to create their own air conditioning in the hive, and you really want them to just continue to work. So you want them to have some shade so it doesn't get too hot in the hive. Access to water could be almost anything. As you can see from this picture, it is a little feeder from the pet store for your dog. So you could use that. Just put some stones in the bottom because, of course, you don't want your bees drowning in the water. So give them a little, some stones to walk on. And you want to be able to navigate around the hive. So you want to be able to walk completely around the hive. As far as the time commitment goes, the first year is when you spend the most time just getting to know the bees and getting to know the hive. I would really recommend joining an association. You don't have to really, but it's a big help if you can ask questions of other people and just meet other beekeepers that have been, have a lot of experience. Take classes, read. There are webinars on beekeeping, and you need to find out what is normal in the beehive, and you get to know that by opening the hive and then just what is normal or what is not, because if there is a problem in the hive, you really want to catch it quickly. If you let it go too long, you will lose your bees. And really, when you think about buying a package of bees for $80 to $90, you don't want to be in a situation where you're going to lose your bees. You want to know, that you check for the queen, whether you need to feed them, damage to the hive, and sometimes the damage is by, a neighborhood skunk that's going to start eating your bees and, creating all kinds of problems. You check the progress and then harvest, prepare for winter. So the time involved with it is not just opening the hive and taking a look, because you want to get used to the activity that they do. You know, I usually pull up my chair and have my coffee and just watch it fly in and out, and get used to what's a normal pattern and what isn't, and should I really check a little more closely. And I spent a lot of time over the winter reading and learning more. I think more has been written about bees than about most animals, so they're really, really fascinating. When you don't spend time with your bees, and it might be weather, because you cannot open that hive and check your bees any time you say, oh, gee, I have, you know, an extra hour today, I'm going to check my bees. Well, the weather might not cooperate. You know, if a storm's coming, you certainly don't want to open them up, because they're going to be a little grumpy. They don't want their house taken apart. So you want to put that off for another day. If it's very hot, you don't want to open them up. They don't want to be disturbed when it's, you know, over 90 degrees. So you have to kind of watch that. That's been my biggest challenge. I mean, to be honest, I work full time. I can't always, you know, I've got the weekend, I've got evenings, and sometimes, you know, I sneak away at lunchtime and go check my bees. But you know, it's that juggling act of the time you need to really be on top of what's going on in your beehive with what else is going on. You know, vacation, you won't be checking your bees, so you've got to get somebody else to look at them if you're going to be gone for an extended time, or you have to add boxes. Laziness, sometimes, yeah. Okay, I admit it. But the outcome would be, here's an example of a swarm. You know, you don't spend time with them and they get overcrowded, they're leaving. You know, they're just going to say, we need a new place. So they're gone. And if you lose your bees, you lose your production. If it's later in the year, you may just lose your colony for that year. So you really have to be careful about that. And also, if you're not on top of things, there are pests and diseases that bees have, you know, they have problems with. So you have to be careful to watch for those types of things. I would not recommend that if you're going to plan to get some bees, do not buy used equipment. That's it. Do not buy used equipment, because you may be buying a problem that someone else is having. You may buy a disease that's going with the bees, so do not do it. This is like bare minimum I'm going to tell you about. You get the equipment, you get the bees, and then a veil, hive tool, and smoker. You could get along with that. And as you can see, I'm not wearing a full suit. And I don't even use the smoker most of the time, but I want it lit and I want it near me. So just in case I need it. But otherwise, I go in, I don't use chemicals, I don't want, you know, it's just minimal stress on my bees. I don't want to open them too often, but I just want to check to make sure everything is okay with the bees. In the second picture, you can see there are different examples of hives. The most popular is this that's called a Langstroth hive, but you don't have to use that. You can, I'm seeing more and more people use a horizontal hive, the Kenya style hive that's all the way to the right. It's different, and you have to, you know, check it differently. I might try one this year. I haven't used that yet, but there are 8 frame hives and there are 10 frame hives. Once the bees fill that box with the comb, and either with the brood or with honey, eventually you'll add another box and they'll fill that with honey. It does get heavy, So you've got to, you know, decide how you're going to manage that weight of the hive too. But really, you know, reasons to keep bees, we all have different reasons that we want to keep them, or, you know, for me it was just that siren call, you know, that the bees were calling me. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it was something nagging at me for years. And I knew I was going to keep bees someday, that I finally said, now or never, just do it. But we've all heard that bees are in peril. You know, some people want to keep them for the sake of the planet, for the sake of the bees. Are bees going to survive, and what does that mean for our own survival? It will give you a better connection with nature, there's just no doubt about it. You will be more aware of weather patterns, of what's growing, what the nectar sources are. When I sit and watch my bees come in and out of the hive, I think about the pollen they're bringing in, and, you know, what's that pollen source? And what's going on? You know, what's going on around me? So, you know, if you have a garden, you're going to see a better yield, definitely. For me, it lowers stress, because bees don't like to have anybody who's really agitated going into them. So I have to, you know, calm down, open the hive, go into the hive and check the bees, and so it forces me to slow down. The bee products, definitely. I think a lot of people think of that as the benefit. You want the honey, you may want the beeswax for, you know, making some kind of product, or hand cream or lip balm or something. The propolis, you know, that hive is, you know, what I call nature's pharmacy. So there are all kinds of good things. There's nothing bad in a beehive, not even the sting. I mean, the bee sting is good for you, so. But I know we can talk about that later, but it really is. There are people that do apitherapy and give therapeutic bee stings. And finally, life-changing. Really is. And I mean, we heard about how chickens change your life too. And for me, you know, all I can say is bees will change your life in ways you've never imagined. This is what's coming up. If you want to learn some more about bees and beekeeping, there is a conference coming up May 21st. Flyers over on the table over there. And we have one of the top speakers in the country coming in for this, so I really encourage everyone to come and attend. And that's it.
Thank you, Karen.